And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you all for joining us. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Joining us now, our cybersecurity expert, Michael Doherty. Michael, good to have you with us.
Good morning, sir.
Boy, it's always something with you. If you're like the Donald Trump of cybersecurity, when there's always something going on. Now we've got discrimination with Google and all these social media folks and Twitter saying ain't so.
Well, it's not a surprise. I mean, come on. We've had what's really gotten highlighted since the election is this entire group of people so outraged. They are showing us their confusion about appropriate behavior when people disagree with you as they fight against what they consider to be a lack of diversity. I know it seems strange. So here they have, they just think that breaking every rule, even at the level of physical violence in some cases, is okay because they know they're right. So, you've got Google, getting sued, and the lawsuit's so interesting because of diversification, motives. So they want to eliminate white conservative males, which the whole purpose of the civil rights movement was not to create a new dominant class, it was to create equality. And then you've got Twitter saying repeatedly how they stack the deck. It's kind of terrifying. Well, what we learn is, we're taught the past decade that all these things are free, and they're absolutely not. They're just using all our data, and it's kind of like having a GPS monitor on us, and they package and analyze and sell it, and also seems to be isolate and retaliate against it.
Michael, could you give us some examples of what you've uncovered?
Well, in the lawsuit in Google, I mean, you've got people talking about just booing the mentions publicly of white male conservative people. You've got, a lot of what happens also, by the way, is what's also missing, what doesn't happen, what isn't defended. Groupthink is kind of stealth. It's like an invisible gas. And so people become afraid to say things. And people then misunderstand that silence means everything's okay. Silence does not mean everything's okay. So what's fascinating about the Google thing is all these allegations, which are legal to make in a lawsuit, which otherwise some might consider slanderous if they turn out to be false. And then we discover what's going to happen if they go to discovery and they get access to all this information to prove it. That's what's going to be fascinating. The legal strategy of not calling this a free speech case, but calling it a discrimination case that uses the regulations in place already is going to be fascinating. And really, it's going to be popcorn time on 50-yard line if this thing really goes to trial.
It's odd that you would have these people be so open and so brazen with their discrimination. If you're white, if you're conservative, if you're a male, you're targeted. We've had people say that their Facebook stuff has been taken away, their Twitter feeds have been taken away. It's alarming.
Well, and see what happens in a culture where people are afraid. What happens is that there's a groupthink that goes on where people have no discussion with opposing views. And the reason I have discussion with opposing views is opposing views are afraid to talk because they'll be retaliated against, and there's no honest, open, relaxed discussion. It's all emotionalized and marginalized and retaliated against, and you can't have unsafe environments. And this is what's really terrifying. This is what we really have to understand. I go back to founding fathers where they really understood, several centuries ago that human beings act like this whenever they get power, regardless of what their political persuasions are. We've seen it countless in history. Countless. I mean, just any regime, all the time. And so this is really no different. And what happens is that stealth silencing of people and the slow disempowering of them. And then you get to a tipping point, and you have this crazy behavior, this irony of people fighting for free speech by beating you up if you disagree with them. It's crazy. We don't understand the difference between saying something terrible and it being stupid and being held accountable for it versus the right to say something stupid and being held accountable for it. We can't give up the right of people to make fools of themselves.
It's almost like George Orwell's Right Before Our Eyes.
Well, it absolutely is. And it is, it's really, isn't it amazing? I mean, really, since Trump won, I never thought I'd see such an ongoing live demonstration of people's not understanding the government process, the electoral process, what the country was founded on, why these things are important. And with Trump, the people that are so outraged by his boorish behavior don't seem to understand that everyone understands he's got boorish behavior, but the comparative of the behavior of the people that weren't boorish had characteristics that many people considered worse. And they refused to get that. And to watch this temper tantrum that is now going into month 15 is pretty astounding. And actually, it's very concerning because, again, it's like they don't understand the difference. Like, if you're okay with Trump being president, that's what I always say. It's like, it's about, look, I mean, you want to talk about how boorish he is or how terrible that is, fine. But why is the moral outrage selective based on political belief? Why is that? Where is this coming from? And you just can't have that discussion. They just shut you down.
Well, I without revealing too much here, in the workplace, I've learned, Michael, after, the media is just like the social media folks, very intolerant. Even places that purport to be conservative. It's funny, when I'll walk the halls here or somewhere else, everyone will come up to me and they want to engage. And then when you hit them with a fact or something else, then they usually take it to the next level, and nothing ever good can happen from it. So I just, mind my own business. But it's amazing whether it's in, the hallways or wherever, the libs can dish it out, but they can't take it.
And it's easy. I mean, it's easy because it sounds so nice. I always say it's like the good parent and the bad parent, or I'm not saying the good and the bad, the popular parent, unpopular parent to a child. Like the popular parent to the child is the one that they go to that always gives them what they want. And the unpopular one's the one that puts the foot down. But when you jump 20 years ahead of time, perspective changes, and who was the better parent? And this is the issue. It's like this type of stuff is bad for everybody, including the people that don't get it. But it's so easy to be liberal because it sounds so nice.
But Michael, you go back to being the liberals, and they're and you know this, you've done this for years. They're the intolerant ones.
Yeah, they refuse to see it, and if you have there's a cycle. Well, they're demonstrating it more now than they used to, because there really was no confrontation. This has got all highlighted in the culture once Barack Obama started to fail. I mean, they really thought that, God had arrived and the world had turned and all the expectations just were not being met. And what shocked me was that they'll go to such an extreme level of magical thinking and paranoia and fury. There just is no acknowledgement at all that this didn't work. And there's such a justification of, you need more time, we need more resources, we need more money. And this is the terrifying part, is that facts don't matter, time's never enough, results are never enough. Look at California, you wonder, and the data that's coming out about California in the last 24 hours in the media about us, the number one poverty state in the country, and I thought to myself, there would have been a day I would have thought naively, they'll see their error and they'll change. Now I think they'll just look at you in the face and go, we need more money. We need more money. I mean, they don't get it. That's the scary part. It's just there's no learning from mistakes. There's no adapting. I've never met a successful anything in any way that doesn't learn from their mistakes. Not learning from mistakes is an absolute rapid-fire way to fail.
Michael Daugherty, if people want to get a hold of you, what can they do?
Well, the Devil Insidesaboutlight.com is still the best way. And the books at Amazon, the best place for ebook, audiobook, and hardcover and softcover.
Michael, always appreciate it. You have a great day, sir.
You too. Take care, man.
All right, Michael Daugherty joining us on KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to R&R. Good morning, sir.
Oh, I'm so honored once more. I love the new slogan, where else? Where else? Thank you, Liberty Limit. Where else but in the morning with your voice, Kevin, in the wilderness. Hey, I know that Mrs. Kevin won't be singing me happy birthday, Bird Day, B-I-R-D, but it's coming up in the next month, and we'll keep that on the lowdown. Okay. Glossary of terms just for opening.
Hey, before you get rolling here, how did you know my birthday is next month?
I've been listening to you for 4 years at this time of day.
Well, this is where the secrets come out.
The rule is that Mrs. Kevin doesn't get on the air. I heard that last year, but she broke the rules. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, B-I-R-D. Birthday to you. Happy birthday, Kevin in the morning. Where else to be? Liberty Linda loves you. You get a fan club that goes clear up to Ola and clear up the Yellow Pine. You are the voice in the will. Happy birthday. And Mrs. Kevin breaks the rules when she wants to. Okay, here we go. Your birthday's when it is. I love teaching, and I taught blah, 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 blah. Public school survivor in a really ugly state adjoining called Oregon from Ori. That's all you need to know. Ola, Idaho. Every time I hear a human being says, Ola, Idaho, I take it personally. Enough said. SHIP, S-H-I-P, Higintransport, okay? That means ship high in transport. Okay, so we've got the Queen's best of the best, lands in Plymouth Rock, and slave labor, and we're talking the Irish. Anybody willing to get to the early colonies was called upon to take burlap and take the feces of domesticated animals for the Queen's best. That's the only way they could go to those places. I've been to those places, and I'm well educated in 3 different universities. One of them happens to be Brigham Young University, Provo, okay? And then I got another bachelor's and another master's that comes out of the state of Oregon. Enough said about me. SHIT is ship, high, in, transport. Pilgrims, Plymouth Rock, yada, yada. The royals, yeah. But the peoples that came over put all the domestic poops from all the cattles and bovines and sheeps and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And they put it in blah, 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 blah. They threw it in the bottom. They didn't speak English. Slaves, not my peeps. The Scots and the Irish, and I'm a Scot. Proud to be. Whew. We didn't speak the Queen's English, so we did what we did just to get on board. We wrapped the poop in burlap, and we pounded it to the bottom of the ships. And then as you start sail, blah, 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 and all the high and mighty are up there. Boom, shakalaka. What just happened? Methane. Water slops in salt water, and we create methane, and we're blowing the Queen's very best and prides and glories all to hell and gone all over the East Coast. Okay, boom, shakalaka, methane. So now we learn blah, 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 blah. Ship, S-H-I-P, high, H-I-G-H-N-T-R-A-N-S-P-O-R-T. That's what Trump didn't understand and explain. Ship high in transport. Some places are ship high in transport countries. Enough said. Check my story out. Pilgrims, Plymouth Rock, the best of the best. Okay, that comes from Ola. That's what S-H-I-T comes from. Humans, listen up. Got your ears on? Now I'm going to just tone her down. Happy birthday, Kevin. Where else but in the morning? I love Liberty Linda because her voice is so pure, and I love to listen to Max. And there's one more. When Hank gets on, I just love his timbre, and I love his cadence, and he's like listening to the grandpa. Enough said. Lastly, it appears that over in New Plymouth, there's a man who speaks the truth, a retired representative of most of these federal cases, and I apologize. There is no hero, and only Cliven Bundy is the hero because he stayed, okay? His cause was his cause. Young man that got on yesterday morning did not do the case one bit of good. Ammon got out of the vehicle, laid on his belly. He says he would go do it all again. Would he go to the front and put himself up there where Lavoie did? No. Hope not. Okay. Ammon's been 2.5 feet away from my shoulder and didn't even know it before he went and did what he did. If he'd asked me, I said, no, I don't think so. Harney County, now we're going to lay down some threads right here because I'm Sean Norwegian, 1837. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is what it is. I'm calling out Dallin Oaks. He would recognize me because I've been by him many hours. Dallin M. Oaks. There's a human being. And a Latter-day Saint? Okay, I'm not. But here's what I am. Well-educated beyond my years from Brigham Young University.
In Provo.
I'm calling out Dallin M. Oaks to go over to Paiute, to go to Burns, to Harney County, and give some redress to the natives. And I'm going to call down some names. The Modoc, the Shoshone, the Nez Perce. And you want to keep going?
Well, no, Ammon. We've gone on for about 8 minutes here.
Okay, Ammon, bye-bye. You didn't do your cause. You don't go digging up the refuge with a happy backhoe and say you do it all over again. Those are my peeps. Bye-bye.
All right, R&R, thank you for that. And that was our tribute to Coast AM. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
ISIS operatives are doing today, going around telling people don't cooperate with American intelligence against us. They think you all live in S houses or S holes. I mean, this is against Americans' interests, whether you're Republican or Democrat.
This is a calculated political. I mean, we have come so far in so many ways, but Donald Trump appears, does he not? Determined to drag us back, not 30 years ago, but 100 years ago.
No, he seems very determined, and he's determined with his policies to do that and his language. But Reagan accepted it, saluted it. Reagan had his own agenda with black America. I didn't agree with it, but he had it. Donald Trump doesn't even have a black agenda. He has no urban agenda. He has no agenda for civil rights. His agenda is to race bait and bring us backwards.
And there we have it, the Reverend Al Sharpton looking svelte, his review of Donald Trump. Now, again, the controversy continues, and certainly we have more important things to talk about. But one thing that we pride ourselves on here at KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller in the morning is doing our very best to give you the truth. Look, we do have an opinion. We voice it, but we'll always let you know, hey, this is our personal opinion. And, of course, we love to hear your opinion as well at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So you're going to love this. The other day we talked about CNN and how many times they said the unfortunate comment, right? Well, thanks to our friends at the Media Research Center, and we have those folks on all the time, they hold the media accountable. So get this, CNN aired that word almost 200 times in a day. That's right. 200 times in a day. And you tell me which is worse, what may or may not have happened in a meeting or, in fact, that CNN continued the negative. More on that in a minute. KIDO Talk Radio time is 6:28. Let's get you to work.
In terms of that meeting, I know what happened. I stand behind every word that I said.
There you have it. Dick Durbin in the spotlight. The president saying, well, whether he is or isn't a racist, Mr. President.
No, I'm not a racist. I am the least racist person you have ever interviewed.
And there we have it. But again, 195 times. You know, Sean Hannity has a promo where he calls them, the most trusted name in news. A couple weeks ago, you had somebody on CNN getting stoned because it's legal in Denver, Colorado. That's part of the news coverage. That's the new journalism, is that you get to experience things that the reporter doesn't report. They actually jump in and become the story. You see it locally, you see it nationally. I call it look at me journalism. But again, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, it's silly, ridiculous, and absurd that you are airing a story, airing a word that you're so outraged about that you can't help but say it again and again and again. You're contributing to the problem, aren't you? Coming up next, a little scary time yesterday at the College of Idaho. We'll get your thoughts on that. As people running around with guns, and your thoughts on California. It doesn't look good for California. Does that mean good news for Idaho? We'll tell you about that next. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. And don't forget, we're coming up on it, folks. Our annual event in Canyon County at the Ford Idaho Center, January 27th. It is the 6th, can you believe this, the 6th annual Canyon County Kids Fair, and we've got the Paw Patrol. We're going to have so many booths and vendors, kind of a way to break up the cabin feverish that is the winter here in the Treasure Valley. That is the 27th. Keep it here. We'll give you a chance to win tickets all this week on KIDO Talk Radio. We'll give you the details on that coming up. Joining us now, Cindy from Caldwell, and she's going to lead off our discussion on what happened or what didn't happen at the College of Idaho yesterday. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Kevin. I do have to just also say that is a great event on the 27th. That I was there last year, and there's just so many opportunities to get involved with just great healthy behavior and lots of chance to actually take home a lot of interesting information. I'm going to only speak to, also something you did yesterday, which in listening to your programming, I actually so appreciated that young man who was on that Survivor show, not even so much for what he did. I mean, that was a great accomplishment, but he spoke so highly, and isn't it wonderful with people demeaning, men and everything else. He spoke so highly of his wife and his family, how many times he mentioned them. So that was so encouraging to me, as well as, and then Bundy just making a comment about his little girl, on his lap. And I was very impressed by what he said yesterday. And, I will talk about family. I live right down from the College of Idaho, and I even know up in this area because I live on where whoever they said was running to. I actually live down Linden Street. But there is a lot of activity out there, and there are gangs in this area, and I'm so thankful for our Caldwell police and others, not only the security at the College of Idaho, because demonstrated time again, even during our past election, it was just a constant assault on Republican headquarters, which were right across from the College of Idaho in that area down there. And you can see by graffiti tells a lot when they start, marking up buildings and such. So there is criminal activity around here. I'm very what would I say? I feel very protected by the Caldwell police and other people around. They are right out there. They drive by. I live in a senior complex, and they're always around. So even though we know that in a very fallen world with all kinds of evil, not only from coming out of people's mouths, but literal people out there, not to make this country great again, but to take advantage of other people, whether that be by thievery or everything else. we have great we have great Caldwell police and others around us trying to protect us from that element.
Well, Cindy, did you see anybody running around with a gun?
Actually, no. I was over at the library talking to the librarian about some behavior outside the library that was just as disappointing to me, with a bunch of kids with hoodies, tragic on a day off from school. I would like to say when I walk into the library, I see somebody reading. That is not an event, but the librarian has her work cut out for her over there sometimes, and that kind of behavior, I mean, I'm not saying everybody that wears a hoodie and is disrespectful and kind of like, I won't say bar the door to the library, but about 10 kids certainly weren't wanting to move very well. I was actually talking to her about some books I wanted to order. No, I was right down the street going the other way at that time.
All right, Cindy. Well, we appreciate that.
Well, Kevin, if ever I go on for an 8-minute diatribe, I told Ray Maya, please just dump the call. If I have some stream of consciousness that I'm trying to get to a point. But the point is to thank our police. You know, there was another shooting.
Wait a minute. Are you saying to dump you? You're giving us permission to hang up on you?
Oh, of course. If I ever did that to somebody, it was painful. I didn't know what your caller was, what point he was trying to make. And if I'm not trying to be encouraging, say something or add some information, oh, of course you can. I have absolutely no problem with that.
Wow.
Wow. How about that one?
I've never heard that before.
Well, why would I want to continue on when I may be having a bad hair day? So I have absolutely no problem with that. Do you have any idea what your first caller was really trying to say? And I was more discouraged when he started.
Well, I think he wished me a happy birthday.
Well, I knew about that, too, but that's not till next month, I hear, in February.
And he liked Liberty Linda, her voice.
I know, but how tragic about saying something yesterday of that wonderful interview with Ammon Bundy trying to talk about the Constitution. And, of course, if the police is telling you to get down, I don't know what is even wrong with people within you think are conservative supporting the Constitution and then taking shots at people that are, you know, I won't say on our side, but trying to purport, you know, good things in America. You would after a man has been in jail for almost 2 years, and then you would say, yeah, I see Lavoie as a hero.
That's the thing, Cindy. Everybody has an opinion on this show. That's the way I look at it.
Oh, no, that's true. But then my opinion is I see, you know, Lavoie Finnegan doing exactly what Ammon said. He was, you know, like taking the hit and getting out of the car to divert attention. But anyway, that is true, Kevin, and that's what's good about your show. So you keep on keeping on, and I will be looking forward. I think you're having Dave Petzo on today to hear what he has to say about money matters.
All right, Cindy. God bless.
Have a nice day, Kevin.
You too. Bye-bye.
Stressful situation for everyone involved. Joe Hughes, the director of communications and marketing at the College of Idaho, says as soon as they heard of a potentially dangerous situation for students and faculty, sirens sounded on the campus, and that signaled a lockdown, shelter in place, which everyone was aware of. Hughes says the report of 2 suspects with a firearm of some sort on campus came in at around 12:45. He says a student was in a car in the J.A. Albertsons Activity Center when those 2 suspects allegedly pointed the gun at the student in what may have been an attempted robbery of some sort. Fortunately, that student was able to drive away and contact campus safety immediately. A witness who came forward to authorities saw the suspects running from the parking lot south toward Linden Street.
Clearly, a student who may have seen, you know, somebody with a gun was shaken up. But you know, our first and foremost responsibility is to the safety of our students. And some people may think that, you know, having a lockdown on campus was overkill. We want to make sure that there was no safety, that our students or faculty or staff, that nobody was in a dangerous situation.
The report given from campus safety was that the 2 suspects were wearing dark clothing with hoods and may have been younger, so in their late teens or early 20s. At the same time, a forum on gun control was happening on the other side of campus. Hughes said that forum continued as planned. They just simply locked the doors, and he doesn't believe the incident is in any way related. We were able to speak to some students after the lockdown was lifted at around 2:30, and they said obviously this was a very scary situation, especially initially when there wasn't that much information. They simply checked their phones. They all got an alert at the same time, checked their phones, saw the emails and the alert system go. So it was pretty scary for them, but they're obviously very happy that no one was hurt. And like I said, the lockdown has been lifted. So
there we have it from Channel 7. Kevin Miller in the morning here at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So when we heard this news, obviously everybody very scared and concerned, and we've seen an uptick in crime in the Treasure Valley, an uptick with police getting into shootouts, an uptick in people running around waving the guns. And now we don't know if these were suspects, if it was an attempted robbery, if somebody was out, goofing off. But you'll have people saying, look, we need more gun control. We've got the Idaho legislature in. This is why we need to, get rid of the concealed carry thing. Now, again, not to get you alarmed, but I would like to get your thoughts. And again, this is an unusual thing. Usually in talk radio, it's an opinion. You react back and forth. So we like to do things a little differently here at KIDO Talk Radio at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Is this just the new norm? College of Idaho and Caldwell, are we going to see this at any of the other places? Probably, I suppose. I hope not. I wish not. When we hear of schools, let's hope and pray that never happens here. It never happens anywhere. People will debate whether or not the teachers should be armed. What can you do to prevent crazy? You can't. You can only do your very best. You can do your due diligence. Like when you go to get a new job or to a business, whatever. You do, what do they call that? You do your due diligence. And that's what we have to do as a society today, our due diligence. But when you hear about this, it could have been a lot worse. And gosh forbid if we would ever have anything that has happened in other parts of the country. And I think that's what makes this state so unique, this area so unique, that you have people that are willing to step up to stop these things, to make those tough decisions. Let's talk about it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning. This is a tough call here. We have Tom Munns and Hank. Gee, who do we go to first? By the way, we do have a couple big announcements, and we do have an app, and we're doing a soft launch on our app, but if you go to the App Store, to the Android store, you now can get KIDO Talk Radio on your app. And you're going to say, well, Kevin, why is that important? There's a lot of great features on it. We're getting trained on it and everything else. But you press it, and you can call in. You can listen at any time. You don't have to go through the Radio Pop app. And we do thank the intelligentsia at the Broadcast Center for, again, investing in this product. A year ago, not even a year ago, last May, was it? We acquired 107.5 FM, our affiliate station. So to be the only talk station, conservative talk station, actually talk station in the Treasure Valley on the FM band, shows that somebody, somewhere, believes in this program besides ourselves. And now we do have the KIDO Talk Radio app. We haven't really even, advertised it, and already so many people are jumping on this. So check that out. Log on, get it, and you can listen at any time just by pressing a button on your phone. Let's go to Tom Munns, TomMunns.com, Munns Tom Twitter on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So we get the app from the App Store or from your website?
The App Store. I'm going to work on trying to get it on the website as well, but it's the App Store, yeah.
Okay. Well, good morning. You were talking about the gun control thing. I think you and I like to have fun with it, but on a very serious issue, I might add. But, I think it all comes down to whether we decide to, maintain a free state or we'd rather maintain a security state. And so, when we look at issues, it's really important that we ask ourselves one fundamental question, especially when we're dealing with the legislature and the law enforcement and all that, when we deal with gun issues, has somebody committed a crime? And if there's been no crime committed, then there's nobody to apprehend. And if a crime has been committed, then those are apprehended. We don't destroy the rights of the people to be free for a few people that deserve to be, that are criminals. It doesn't operate that way. And this is what the problem is in this country and why we're losing all of our liberties, because every time a kid gets hit in the crosswalk, there's another law. Every time somebody gets hit in the driveway, there's another law. Every time there's a gun on campus, there's another law. Every time there's some sort of food that we're not supposed to eat, there's another law. Every time we do something, there's another law. And every time that happens, the people start losing their liberties. Law was always meant to be able to punish criminals or evildoers, but it was also meant to be able to elevate or acknowledge those that have done well. So for us to be able to condemn an entire society because a couple of morons may or may not have done whatever they're doing is ludicrous.
Well,
and
what goes on in your mind when you hear that people are running around the College of Idaho and they've locked down the campus? What's your initial thought?
Honestly, my first one is media sensationalism, and the anti-gun agenda. That's what it is. And sad to say, whether it's actually true or not, because of the fact that I am where I am and I study what I study, it has to be the first thing I think about, because everything has always been about the fulfillment of an agenda. It's always been about, removing guns. So when you go back to the Freedom of Wars document written by our own State Department in 1961, it talks about how they plan on incrementally disarming Americans.
Now,
and the fact that Americans don't...
Now, we've already gone off the track on this hour. Now, you were looking to book somebody on this program, is that right?
Yeah, Robert Brown's going to be talking about the opposition to the CONCON, and I need to know what day would be good. He's coming in on the 23rd, so if we could do it on the morning before that, that'd be awesome.
All right, I'm going to put you on hold, and you can please talk to Ray about that, all right?
Thank you, my brother. Have a great week.
All right, thank you. By the way, a big rally tomorrow, the Idaho Convention of States. They will have folks coming in, whether or not to have the Convention of States. Now, we're doing our very best to get Mark Meckler. I believe he's coming in tomorrow, and we'll see if we can get him on as well. Traffic and weather together at KIDO. And we go back to the phones. We go to Hank in Boise at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Hank.
Yeah, there's a common link to the decline of California and gun control in this sense of the word. It's the liberal proclivity to double down when they don't learn that from experience what works and what doesn't work. We've had gun control since about 1968, 50 years of it, and the results are the liberals keep on demanding more laws. But in the states where they had the most draconian gun laws, Chicago, Illinois, Washington, D.C., they have the highest rates of gun. And the more they put gun restrictions, the more the gun violence increases. California, the more they impose these kinds of policies, and the liberals beat on the chest, say that they're big friends of the middle class. Their policies end up squeezing the very middle class that they claim to champion. California is a state that has the biggest difference between rich and poor. Talk about unfairness, equality. The Democrats always practice about equality, but their policies lead to inequality. I mean, they don't seem to learn that the freedom is the primary instrument of prosperity and security. It's amazing. It's like an act of faith on these part of these people. They double down. The same thing. You go back to the New Deal. Roosevelt policies continued the Depression. He doubled down on them, and they had a second recession in 1937 after the 1929 recession, largely caused by government regulation and stifling of business, much like Obama's stagnation that we had under him. We had that under FDR, 80 years, and yet the Democrats still don't learn that this stuff learns. I mean, it's like when you ignore the factors of history, you're doomed to repeat the same mistakes all over and over again. But these people believe in this stuff as a matter of faith, and they feel that, and it feels so good, and feels so superior to us, and yet they don't seem to learn that experience is the best guide for what we should and shouldn't do.
Hank, great call. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.